I'm a teacher in the TDSB, and I'm a former executive officer of Elementary Teachers of Toronto, which gave me an opportunity to see multiple schools, speak with teachers across the school board, and listen to some desperate principals confide in me about the position that they are in on a day-to-day basis. And I am here because I know that you are under tremendous pressure to pass a budget that will have cuts in it, because that's what budgets have these days. And I want to let you know how grave, how serious the situation is in our schools in terms of basic physical safety of our students due to understaffing and lack of resources. Because I believe that if you knew how dangerous it is, and by what a thin thread, the safety of our students hangs on a daily basis, most especially in schools that rely solely on public funding. And I'm referring to the schools that don't have wealthy parent councils, wealthy school councils. And the disparity is tremendous, and very often the people who make the decisions come from schools where they don't see what it really looks like. And so I want to paint a picture for you. I'm going to start by reading a letter that was written with the help of some education workers. Toronto District School Board trustees, Toronto parents, education staff, and students are sounding the alarm that our schools are dangerously underfunded. Insufficient staff and resources mean that students are undersupervised and denied basic supports. A multitude of preventable dangers result from this, including increased risk of serious physical injury, emotional distress, and violence for those students, and violence for which students receive undue blame. And I just want to make a note. The fact that police officers have the kind of presence and are called upon so frequently to deal with violent situations in our schools is not a reflection on the students. It is a reflection on the dangerous levels of understaffing and the complete inability of principals to be able to access supply teachers and supply EAs when they're needed, which I will get to. Failure to hire enough staff means that when teachers and support staff are sick, there is often nobody to fill in for them. In the routine struggle to fill absences in a school, special programs get canceled, oversized classrooms get merged, schoolyards and lunchrooms go undersupervised, and that's a bit of a euphemism. Children and youth cannot be expected to learn in a school that lacks the basic stability and safety that comes from proper funding. Racialized working class students are made disproportionately vulnerable by cuts. Their families are least able to fill in the gaps with fundraisers to buy equipment and volunteer labor to provide supervision. Equity programs do not make up for or excuse the disparity between Toronto's most marginalized school communities and those with the most privilege, caused by cuts to basic school operations. Due diligence to protect the safety and well-being of students is the most fundamental responsibility of the Toronto District School Board. We call upon the Toronto District School Board to develop a needs-based budget. This budget must be based on student needs as expressed by the TDSB students, school staff, parents, and guardians. In addition, it must address the results of a thorough and objective risk assessment. Do not pass any budget or put your name or associate your reputation with any cuts, at least until you have done a risk assessment, because employees will not come to you and tell you how bad things are. It means disclosing the humiliating and the dangerous situations that they experience on a daily basis. You're not going to get an unfiltered account. If I had time, I would go through situations that I hear about, that I have seen. Do not put it on your reputation. Put it on the government. In addition, it must address the results of an objective risk assessment of existing hazards to students' physical safety and mental well-being in TDSB schools. This needs-based budget must eliminate all unreasonable risks to TDSB students. And if anyone comes to you and says it's illegal not to pass a balanced budget, you say that it is your legal responsibility to protect the lives of students, because I will tell you that it is with chance and a roll of the dice and a great deal of luck already that there is not a tragedy. Every day, There is a situation in just about every school that I'm aware of where the worst could happen.
Thank you. Your 5 minutes are up.
Do the right thing.
People may have questions.
Yes, we have questions of clarification. Trustee Laskin?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Can you clarify why you brought up wealth of school communities? You can't fundraise for staffing. You can't fundraise for resources. So what does wealthy school communities, what's the issue between, I mean, is school safety not an issue in all schools?
I think it is an issue in all schools because I'm familiar with schools that I think would be identified as, you know, low on the LOI, meaning that they are in affluent communities. And I teach in schools that are not affluent. But here's what you need to understand, because if you're able to raise a lot of money for equipment and computers, I mean, I watched a snoozling room, which is for students with developmental disabilities, get fitted in someone's school who I know really well. And I was just aghast. I thought to myself, I mean, this is basic stuff. My students don't get this. And once you have that money to pay for those things, well, then your school budget is liberated to get other things. Because you're not just scraping by to get the basics. And if you have labor, because obviously labor is a huge cost. Well, working class communities are called working class for a reason. Parents are working 2 jobs. It's not because parents don't care that you don't have the same level of volunteer labor. It's because they don't have the time. They're working 2, 3 jobs. And they don't get to staff a kiss and ride at their school. They don't get to staff with volunteer labor the lunchroom. Lunchrooms are dangerous. I mean, I listened to a principal beside himself say to me, look, I'm doing what I can. I can't get the staff. I know you're here telling me we got to get more lunchroom staff, but where am I going to get them from? Well, you see, in some of my friends' schools, they've got volunteers doing that.
Just a clarification, we're not to have volunteer lunchroom supervisors, so I'm not sure where that's coming from, but I'm not going to argue the point. I
could respond to that. Principals do things on a daily basis that break the rules to keep the children safe. To keep the children safe.
Are you finished, Trustee Laskin?
I had more questions, but I'm stopping. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, thank you very much for your
Thank you.
Our next delegation is Hillary Hall from Dover Court Public School Advisory Council. Go ahead, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you. My colleague Hannah wasn't able to be here today, but thank you for hearing me. I'm here from the Dover Court Public School, my role as a member of the School Advisory Council, to enhance the accountability of the education system to all families. And we continue to fight as a council at the provincial level for adequate funding for education, and we're proud to be partnering with our neighboring schools in that effort. But the changes the TDSB proposed in response to the provincial budget will have terrible impacts at our school, and we believe similarly bad outcomes at other schools. Students will be left behind, teachers and staff will be overworked and burned out, and serious incidents will increase, and a safe and welcoming environment will be compromised. So for context, at Dover Court, the cuts proposed mean losing the following positions. Our part-time VP, a position that was reassigned in January 2023. Our only full educational assistant position will be reduced to half. Our current office staff allocation will go down, and potentially we will lose our 2 special needs assistant positions. Or that allocation may happen at the last minute, causing us to lose the staff that have made positive connections with our students and families already. And our class sizes are increasing. I'm here today to make sure our priorities as parents and guardians are known to you as you set the TDSB budget. And we ask the TDSB to prioritize these positions and that classroom numbers across the system remain low as you continue setting the budget for the next year. Dover Court's a grade school of about 400 students. At our school, we have many children who have special needs such as ADHD, ASD, ODD, or behavioral issues across all of our grades, and these needs have been identified by staff through assessment. These diverse needs deserve the support of consistent special needs assistance and educational assistance in our school. When our children get this support at the right time, we've seen how they begin to thrive. We ask these positions to stay and, if anything, be increased, not reduced in the board. Our intermediate class size is projected to be 32 next year. And in the fall, we understand these classes could go up to 35. Our school's old. It has literally become a challenge to fit this many teenage bodies into the classroom, much less to meet the needs of these students in a classroom of that size. We've also experienced a serious uptick in behavior issues this year, and our student council attended our parent council meeting and shared their concerns with us about this. Teachers, staff, and students regularly report that many students post-pandemic are having trouble with self-regulation, which affects the entire school community. This year, our school has experienced 8 serious incidents that have resulted in suspension and 37 office referrals of serious incidents where parent and guardian involvement was required. These figures reflect what's happening right now with the supports in place that the TDSB is proposing to cut, like our vice principal and some of our office staff. When there is an incident in the school next year, how will it be managed with so few adults to respond? Similar to my previous speaker, for this school and other schools to remain safe and implement one of the TDSB priorities, we need more caring adults in the building. As you can see, cuts are leaving students behind. Our kids have told us loud and clear they need more support. Staffing cuts at local schools mean that our remaining educational and office staff will be overworked and burned out. So as you set the budget for the next academic year, we're asking you to emphasize keeping our staff. Kids need more support from all of us, not less. Sadly, we believe we are not alone in the challenges we face this year. And I think I heard that firsthand in my previous speaker. And we reject the position the province intends for parents and guardians to fight with other schools within the TDSB to get access to the limited support and finances available. We will continue to fight for more funding from the province because we know that you need it. We know that our school has the resources to mobilize parents and fight for our needs. We signed petitions, we collected letters, I'm here to depute. And we know, our SAC knows, that not all schools in need across the city are able to engage you in this way. How decisions are made about the allocation of vice principals, education assistants, and special needs assistants needs to be transparent, available to parents and guardians, and driven by demonstrated need in the school community. We will continue to fight for fully funded public education in this province, and we seek for this TDSB budget to support our kids as they continue their efforts to rebuild academically, emotionally, and socially. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Do we have any questions of clarification for the delegate? Anyone online? Trustee Dawson, go ahead.
Thank you, through the chair. Hi, Hillary. Thank you so much for coming to make a delegation. I know that you have been doing some amazing work with 8 other schools in Ward 9, and I wonder if you could please elaborate a little bit more on some of the activism that you are doing with the province.
Thanks, Alexis. Yeah, we are working with these other schools to put together a petition to be delivered to the floor of the legislature. And minutes before this meeting, I connected with other parents here who are doing the same thing, and it's amazing, and we're going to work together, I hope. And some of the schools that are within that have also done actions at their school, big chalk mural art to gain attention. And we were out collecting signatures in person, which gave us an opportunity to talk to parents about what are the cuts that are happening at the provincial level, because it doesn't look like it in the media. They played a very good game with that. And then also what we're trying to do as a school.
Thank you so much. And again, thanks for coming to speak today. Your words were very well said. Thank you.
Go ahead, Trustee McLean.
Thank you, and through the chair. And thank you, Ms. Hall, for your delegation and your advocacy, and we appreciate that. Can you clarify for me how you know how many suspensions were done at the school?
Yeah, at our recent council meeting, we asked the Safe and Caring for an update on the Safe and Caring Schools Committee, and we asked our administration to report on how many incidents had happened at our school.
Okay, thank you. And you also shared, I think, that students have told you that they're in need of additional supports. Can you share how that was done?
Yeah, so there's maybe two ways I could speak to. So we had our student council come to our parent council meeting, and issues of this nature came up about what's happening in the school around behavior. And then as parents on parent council, we've heard from our own kids about supervision, what's happening at recess, wanting, my own son, I can say, was benefited from a withdrawal support when he was younger for a reading intervention, and is now integrated into the classroom. So losing any supports that help students thrive who may have diverse needs, some of those are the way they've come out.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll also add, sorry, we have put out as part of this work a request to our school community to tell us about the things that they're worried about being lost, like tell us a little more of their own story in terms of what services they've accessed that really made a difference for their kids.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your delegation. Next, we have Karina Walsh and Jennifer Volk from various school councils. Can we bring another chair to the? Yes, please. So go ahead when you're ready. You have 5 minutes.
Hello, I'm Karina Walsh, mother of 3 at Brown.
Hi, I'm Jen Volk, mom of a daughter at Earl Grey in Riverdale and a former Franklin parent.
Together, we represent school councils for Brown, Earl Beatty, Earl Grey, Franklin, Hillcrest, Queen Alexandra, and Winona. Thank you for the opportunity to speak regarding the devastating impact that the reductions in aquatic staffing will have on our school and students. First, we want to acknowledge the grave issues facing the board during this budget cycle due to the provincial funding shortfalls. As school councils, we have called on the Ontario government to provide the funding as requested by the chair to achieve a balanced budget, and we will continue this fight. Many in our communities wanted to come and speak today. We have chosen, however, to come as a joint collective as we wish to be respectful of the committee's time. Although you will only hear 2 voices as you listen, please hear the voices of 7 school councils and thousands of current and future students and families. This is not a broad discussion on the benefits of swimming or whether swim programming should be maintained within the TDSB. That has long been settled. Rather, this is an issue about a group of schools, 8 elementary and 12 secondary, who have had their aquatics instructor allocation taken away such that they will no longer be able to provide a full-time swim program and whose students will also suffer other consequences. Our 7 schools are different in many ways. The grades offered, some are dual track, some are model schools, some have board pools while others have city pools, and the list could go on. But we are here today with a single message. Swimming is an important, valuable, and cherished part of our schools, and with these proposed changes, our schools will be devastatingly impacted and forever changed. On Friday, our principals were informed that the decision to reduce aquatic staff was made under the understanding that it would be done without reducing programming. However, after reviewing the collective agreement and status of pool maintenance projects, it was determined that this wasn't possible. To address this miscalculation or misunderstanding, and contrary to the basis upon which trustees approved the reduction, the swim programs at our schools will be decimated. In other words, a mistake was made and now our students have been selected to pay for that mistake. This is not an acceptable process or solution. Taking away our allocations will have a significant impact on the physical and mental well-being of our students. We have heard from many, many families. For some, children are unable to participate in other sports due to medical conditions. For others, this is their only chance to receive instruction. In other cases, schools are providing students with exceptional needs swimming twice weekly, giving countless benefits. But what is even more devastating is the impact that this will have on mental health and well-being of our students. Students have suffered disproportionately during the last 3 years, and severely hindering a favorite part of school life will weigh heavily. Imagine our kids walking by fully maintained, empty pools, longing to swim, only to find paid programs running after school that they cannot join.
Outside of the impacts on our children, the proposed unassigned or twinning models do not make sense for a number of reasons. First, there will be the full cost of maintaining these pools, although these valuable assets will sit significantly underutilized for much of the year. This is not responsible stewardship. Second, these unassigned staffing positions will be difficult and unappealing to instructors and therefore hard to fill. And third, it fails to recognize the importance of instructor-student relationship. Moving instructors between schools and facilities with the potential of teaching 800-plus students will not be as effective or safe. All this while some schools without an operating pool retain full aquatic staff allocation. We do understand that not all schools have pools, and we appreciate that we are very fortunate. But where they do exist, we should use them fully. The identity of each school is different, and for our school, swim has been a key part of the school identity for decades. Some of our schools have significantly less outdoor space than the board averages. While a pool is not a substitute for green space, failing to use the pools available fully further compounds this issue, when instead we should be trying to find more ways to help our students stay active. We also cannot understate the contributions of aquatic staff in our schools outside of instructional swim. Competitive swim, which can only be run through dedicated coaches, is extremely popular in our schools, and losing these swim teams will be devastating. However, the loss will not be limited to swim. Aquatic staff also act as first aiders and run many other extracurricular sports teams that will also be lost. We believe the process to date has been gravely flawed. The original proposal was based on incorrect facts. Trustees and principals were told that the reduction in staff would not impact programming. And now every few days we are receiving different information about what the model will be and how it is to be executed. The result is a profound impact to our swim programs, beloved staff, and our schools. The far-reaching detrimental consequences of this proposal are significantly disproportionate to the cost of the additional allocation that will be required to maintain the programs as currently intended. We implore you to find a solution that maintains current programming and sees the reinstatement of 2 full aquatics instructors at each of our pools. Thank you very much for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much.